Okay, now we're, okay, so there's your list. We have Joel Calabrese with Piedmont Natural Gas, Eddie Cobb with Dixie, Jim Collins, Piedmont Natural Gas, Court Bennett with ITS, Jessica Jackson. I apologize, Jessica, who is she with? Oh, okay, with Dixie, perfect. We've got Teresa Watley, she's with the City of Charlotte, and Mark Worth with Enbridge.
Welcome, everybody. Mr. Stover, you want to introduce yourself, please?
Jason Stover, guys, thank you. Got that one here too.
I'm Daniel Voltoro. I work with Sunstate Trench Safety. We do shoring, road blades, rentals, offer underground safety equipment.
Thank you. Appreciate it. The agenda, can I get approval for the agenda?
So we
Got here.
OJ and Tim.
Tim, all right, thank you. Going into old business, first thing I want to talk about is checking positive response and what to do if your tickets aren't showing non-complete. Anybody have any they want to add from the last meeting on that? Is that, how big of an issue is that here in the Greensboro area?
oh yeah.
We're seeing it across the state, and I was at the Mississippi State Conference a couple months ago, and it's the same there. Just the number of tickets that are coming in is crazy, and a lot of that, guys, it comes from the contractors. We're giving out mass amounts of tickets. We know we're not going to start that work for another month, so we really got to pay attention. We've got to work together with the locators to know if we know, hey, this stretch, this 10-mile stretch that we're going to do, I'm only going to do this mile this week, that mile, and let's get them put in at the right time in a timely manner. It's my thought. That's the first step in working together to get that done.
I mentioned this the last time, but I want to reiterate it. According to the State Utility Commission's inspector, as a gas operator, not complete is not in compliance. So just keep that aware if you are a gas operator. That a not complete response is not in compliance.
Anybody else have anything like that?
In Raleigh, I get phone calls all the time because I'm a point of contact for tickets that have problems. Is that they'll say they called somebody, made arrangements, and they didn't call anybody and make arrangements. And sometimes the contractor gets really upset about that I didn't get a phone call. And there's some that's nicer, they'll say, well, maybe I missed a call. That we'll continue to have a problem with that. And that does come from our contract that locates for us for fiber tickets and that type of thing.
Anybody else?
So is there a difference between, I guess you would say 999 versus the not complete codes? I mean, like, what is the point of the
Anne's
code?
pulled the book out over there, I think, already.
Well, so let's just talk about the process. I mean, obviously, if there's no response to the positive response system, the system will automatically code it a 999. So that means no one responded. Even with the not complete, after the 3 working days, you'll need to either, what we would suggest is communicate. Okay, so what does that look like? That means attending your local UCC, getting to know these folks, only placing the amount of work that you can absolutely do. Because obviously the not complete is part of that systematic outcome from so many tickets and not being able to respond on time. So it is a not complete, it's not a clear positive response. So then if you're not communicating, then you're going to do your 3-hour. And then after that, then it's up to you to make that decision, whether to dig or not. But the law does allow you to. Once again, caution when you're working around, gas, electric, even the fiber. It's very costly. So that's why we encourage you. We have 50 UCCs we're here for the state. We need you guys just to get to know each other and, because the system can't continue to bear, the amount of volume, so.
And I've seen it work at the local level. The contractors get to meet with the locators, they get their names, they get their phone numbers. And then once that relationship is there, it's a lot easier. And the frustration level goes from here to here.
Well, 2 points on that. Sometimes they're marking these tickets as not complete, and then you show up out there and they've got paint. And it's like, oh, when you call, it's, oh, well, he didn't have time to get the photos. So you're leaving the ticket open as not complete, but yet the locate, according to what you're telling me as a locate company, they're done with that ticket. They just didn't close it out because they didn't have time to get the photos.
That's the first I've heard of that one, so.
Yeah.
So they got a new program, so it's harder to close their tickets.
Yeah,
They switched. I've been dealing with that a lot. It'll actually be located and I'll get locator and a supervisor to send it to me in writing. Because it's not that it isn't located, they're having trouble clearing their boards because they switched to some new system. I've heard that a lot lately.
Okay, now who,
USIC.
USIC.
okay,
Correct.
so, just so that you're clear, okay, so. We have any, I don't think we have anyone online from USIC, anyone in here?
A deal with the excavator. Sorry, if we talked, we have a deal. But all utility owners have started using that. I'll say they have a deal with me. We'll coordinate a time. It's been 2 weeks and I still don't have a location. They continue to put that on there. If they have a deal with me, that's fine, but they kind of started using that as an excuse not to look at it too.
They're not complete?
It's not complete. They'll code 30.
Right,
They'll say,
not complete.
make a arrangement with that.
Like a meeting set up or something like that.
Right.
What's happening too is they'll say, okay, you'll talk to them, you'll come up with an agreement with them. And then it's like, you never hear from that locator again. They're gone. Supervisor know nothing about it, but we don't have a list of the supervisor's numbers to contact in general. Now you do get to find them, throughout, but typically that locator is not just that area. He might get moved around.
Sure.
Um,
What area are you working in?
that's their own.
Okay. We can certainly connect you with some contacts.
Which I've gotten the supervisor's number now. But
good.
I'm just saying in previous times, that's a lot of what's happening too, is the locator themselves comes up, they meet you on site, you have an agreement with them, but then that locator gets moved
Mhm.
and nothing gets passed on from that locator to the next person or to the supervisor or any of that. That creates a problem too, because then they get mad when you start 3 hours in a ticket going, well, what was the purpose of that? I needed the ticket closed as past due.
So I would continue to encourage to try to meet on site and to continue that communication. I know down in Mecklenburg County, certainly, Piedmont and some other utilities down there, they're really trying to partner with those contractors on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. So if it's something that that's going to continue, I would encourage you to have those weekly or bi-weekly meetings, just so that they know where you're at and you know where they're at.
We got a lot with Charlotte.
Mhm.
I'm good.
Yes.
I did the same thing with Foothills Broadband with Heat, USIC. We set up a bi-weekly meeting.
Good.
And when we first started our project, and I think that helped us out now, it's a call over to Terry at Heat, and we get anything resolved if we can run into something. And the communication outside of the 811 system was key for us in getting things done.
And as we talk about the volume, that is the key to it right now, is it's going to have to be that communication outside of the 811 system.
We'll even schedule our construction based on, if we run into something, and even with our local town with their water system, if they can't get out there and locate, we'll schedule other things based on, hey, I can have a guy there and tomorrow. Okay, well, we'll go over, we'll move our whole system over so it gives them time to get out to it. And, it doesn't pressure those guys. Because I found when we start pressuring them and making it a must do, we don't kind of bend to help them. They,
Shut it down.
Yeah.
Shuts down communication.
Anything else on?
Do we have any recourse? Because whenever we get up and we're hitting 60, 80,000 feet a week, they're just telling us, sorry, we don't have the manpower. What do we do? I mean, because we're not calling in stuff that we're not going to get done within 10 days typically. But once we start really ramping up and getting our numbers again this summer, how are we going to get them to ramp up with us? Because they just tell us, sorry, we don't have the people. And then we're just kind of left out there to, okay, well, we're losing money now.
Well, there's a lot of money put out there for the infrastructure, but none of it's been given to the facilities to pay for the locate. So that's pretty much, there's a lot of reason there.
And I mean, we tried to do like single address tickets. We broke it down to, instead of doing big tickets, we do single address tickets, trying to help locators, everything we can. But they know it's coming. This is the 1st of January. They know by April, May, is there any way we could, maybe you guys could lean on and say, you guys, this is what's coming this year. You know it's coming. We need to start ramping up. They told us about costs and stuff. Like I said, we broke down to single address tickets. I don't care if it's 100-foot long, we're doing tickets so that they can get paid at that.
So once again, going back to that communication, if you guys can do some pre-cons and kind of let them know what's coming up, then, you know, hopefully they can, you know, try to work with you. What we've got to not do is just continue to dump those tickets in. I know you can work it, but you also just said it, that they've already told you there's no way that they can manage all of them within that 3-day period, and you're just one contractor. So imagine the amount of ticket volume they have, and you want yours done, they want theirs, and they do. And so they've got to work with you all, and if you can slowly put your tickets in and then they can stay ahead of you, it's certainly going to work a whole lot easier. And it's going to come down to that communication, just like it's been successful for you. You know it works.
the problem is, and I think maybe what he's alluding to, and I get the pressure from my investors of, I put $20 million into this project, I need to start seeing revenue. And if I can't get my tickets located to build my plant to get him customers, then he's losing money when I'm being held up by the locators.
That's exactly what I'm.
So I can't hold up, we can't hold up our business because another business can't hire people to do the locates.
And we have meetings all the time. Mark over there's, I mean, he has every USIC number, and Justin over there works with us. And they just tell us, sorry, we can't do it. And that's just, you know.
You're held by a contract for liquidated damages. So you're getting fined if you can't even.
Right, if you don't get it completed within, by your deadline, then you're paying a penalty for not getting it done, and it's just gonna get worse.
Absolutely.
Because, as we all know, well, I don't know if we all know, but anybody that's doing utilities can't put anything on poles anymore. They're just, the poles are overcrowded, they're overloaded, they're wanting poles changed out, so everything's going in the ground. And that's overburdening the locate system. And we're the ones that's having to pay for it.
Has there been any complaints driven through the board, the 15-member board?
Yes, so, and when we get down there, I'll kind of give even a little more detailed. So we are definitely seeing increased complaints to the review board for non-response. And currently, you know, obviously, unfortunately, they're very cut and dry. Either you responded or you didn't. So that's why we're working so hard to encourage you to communicate with that member so that it doesn't land at the review board. But certainly there have been fines issued, and I'll go through those, the amount of what we've issued for the whole year of last year. But, yes, we are seeing those, and we're beginning to see more of an increase. And that actually started last January, so.
It's so bad for us as far as like the town we're working in with their water department, they've got one person. And when we're putting in miles a week, they can't stay ahead of us. So they've actually given us their infrastructure for their water and sewer. And we go out and do the locates for them. You know, we've got that trust relationship with them, but we'll go out and do the locates because they just can't stay on top of it. And you know, I know that's not a possibility with Piedmont and Duke and all of that, but that's one of the things we've had to step up and help with. Even bought them a GPR to try to speed up the process.
Yeah.
So
I'm also hearing that in some other counties too as well, working with the water departments.
Forsyth's good to work with.
Pardon me?
Forsyth County,
Good.
they'll give you all their prints, everything, James and all of them, they'll come out there. And I mean, we self-locate pretty much most all their stuff, all the Ashboro. Poor guy down there, he just like, I don't even have prints, like, it shows where your mains are at, we'll figure it out from there.
What will end up happening if they give them the prints and they go out there and they were to hit something?
I'm not an attorney. I don't have a dog in that fight. I plead the fifth.
I still have to mark. And if they,
Yeah, I mean,
the print basically just gives you a little bit of a guideline, but it's all timed up so they can't locate it anyway. We're out there witching it the same way they would try to get in front of a GPR. We've been paid for McCrimmon Creek to get more guys out there to locate, like that's coming out of our pocket. I got 4 projects in the same, in Hillsborough, and I'm juggling, I'm talking locators right now, trying to get them to give me at least 2,000 foot, 2,500 foot, keep my guys busy for today.
But the kicker is last year, went ahead and hired 10 of USIC's travel team. Now, as long as you're willing to pay them $550 a day, magically stuff will get located. To me, that's kind of just like, yes, I can pay you. And you're also getting,
you'll give me a guy, but if you gotta pay it, you can't find the guy.
But the other
They
kicker
gave me
to
that
is-
same option. I laughed at them.
The other kicker to that is you're paying for that locator, but they're also getting paid when they close out that ticket. So they're double dipping in the system to cover their cost.
that's when we ramped up to 180, 200,000 feet a week. We was having to pay 5,500 a day just to keep them out in front of us. So.
You're saying this is January.
yeah. And certainly those are creative ways, to address it.
Okay, we do water work too, so like Forsyth, they just give us a bunch of parts, and if you hit it, call us, we'll just fix it as we go. So, they get Hillsborough, we drained their water tower last year off the tire, but, yeah, and it's like, well, your mark's over here. Yeah.
That don't work too much anymore. I mean, they're mad every time, but they ain't involved. That's what
Yeah.
I find, they can't find the water, but I sure find it. That's what we're doing.
Like Ann said, just keep trying to build those relationships.
I would hope at some point they would start mapping their facilities better. That's a whole other, I don't want to get off on that tangent. But that's definitely a big, big issue.
And moving on, the 2025 meeting locations. I think it was just the Jacksonville, is that correct? That was the one we were going back and forth on. Is that where we wanted to have it?
Of course, I know that's still on the agenda, correct? John, okay. So Raleigh is our next meeting, over at Enbridge. And Sandra, thank you for hosting that. And then, we'll have our joint conference. We'll talk a little bit more about that next. And then, I think Charlotte, we were looking to go to Charlotte Water. Is that correct? And back to Jacksonville in November, if the weather holds, hopefully back to Enbridge over in Asheville. So kind of moves it around the state for other people to join.
Everybody's good with that. We
On
can,
location, we will buy lunch.
Okay,
We will.
lunch will be provided in
In
March.
And we're good, everybody good with that, we can move on from that. That is where we're going. All right, sounds good. Going into the office report, Lindsay's not here. She's got called up to Denver. I really don't have anything, and if I do, I can go into through the excavation phase. Will. Miss Sandra.
Our treasury report is the same as it's been since our conference. As, we have $14,646.35 in our treasury. And we are not expecting any invoices right now. All I have.
Except the conference is coming up.
Oh, well, we'll start spending money there.
Yeah. Right, on to new business. Met last night for the 2025 joint conference. And I don't have those dates in front of me. Tim, what are they?
The 14th through the 16th through 16th.
So it's May 14th through the 16th. That is going to be in, I want to say Wilmington, it's not Wilmington. It's
Wrightsville Beach.
Wrightsville Beach. At the Lumina. Lumen? Lumen. It's a Holiday Inn property. It's right there on the ocean. It's a nice setup. Plenty of room for vendors. Could be what, roughly $250 to $270 a night, depending on which kind of room you want. Yeah,
Yes.
and we have the whole entire hotel. We So,
We were there in 2016 and we had a great conference there.
finalizing some stuff, so. And when do you think that'll hit? We got a couple things we still gotta
Yeah.
work on.
We hope to have the registration up either at the end of January, 1st of February, hopefully at the latest. And you'll be able to register. There will be golf. Do you have more details you want to go
No,
over?
no, no, I don't really have any details, like, not yet, anyway.
So we know for sure golf, I think it's probably gonna be $125 each, $500 a team. Regular rooms, $249. If you do oceanfront, $269. And there will be a $15 per night parking. So just kind of give you some ideas of what's going on there.
Bet off lunch, there's a box lunch with that.
Yes.
We'll have a reception Wednesday night,
Sure.
social Wednesday. Thursday and Friday breakfast, Thursday lunch and dinner. And then the meeting usually ends around 11, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. I don't know the schedule is that on Friday.
What were those dates again?
I'm sorry, what?
What were those dates again for the conference?
The dates.
14th through the 16th of May.
May.
Okay, thank you.
Call you back up.
Anybody else have any questions on the joint meeting?
Well, and will I know all of the details will be worked out before then, but by the March state meeting, probably still be some vacancies that haven't been filled out.
For,
The conference,
I feel sure.
that's 2 months ahead and.
Yeah, I
but all
mean,
the details will be worked out probably by the March. state.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be worked out.
Absolutely.
We're trying to get back there this month.
Yes.
Finalizing that stuff.
we're just working on the agenda, all the food details, all of that stuff, but
Speakers, that kind of.
yeah. So either way, even if the agenda's not absolutely ready, we will have the registration, all that stuff ready. And so what you will do is, you will go online and you will do your registration online, and then there will be a separate link for you to go and pay, through PayPal to use your credit card. So you'll register and then there will be a link to pay.
And I need to know registration, and
That'll be part of your registration.
yeah.
And the registration, they also have to click on the hotel link. Is that correct?
Yes, there will be a link for you to book your reservation online.
Which I have.
Okay, good. Nice.
And there's what, how many rooms, Tim?
186, I believe.
184.
184.
Vendor setup and all that is all on there.
Yes, the vendor information will be on there as well. And that'll be up and rolling too. So yes.
Sponsorship too, like
Say it again, Jason.
sponsorship opportunity too.
Yes.
Once that rooms are sold, then people will have to look for other accommodations around there. We got the whole hotel.
I will mention though, I think they said last night on the booths, the cost will include power and internet. So that's a good plus for those that may want to, have a different type of booth setup.
Any other questions? Open discussion, North Carolina large projects. See, did not answer. Yeah, we did. Just to let you guys know, some reports that we're running for 2025 in North Carolina, there are $21 billion worth of large projects that are coming in 2025 for the state of North Carolina.
Wow.
That comes from Pepper Force Dodge leads that sales staff has gathered. So that's what I've got for projects. You else got anything for them?
No large projects?
Quite right.
You guys do know about the lead water pipe pavement programs fixing to start, don't you?
It started
Yeah.
a year or two ago. Nobody's really drug their feet on it. So
So by the end of 2025, going into 2026, we're probably gonna have about 150,000 out here to do. So just a heads up, it is coming and it is a monster.
we've done some of it in some of the smaller communities to where we just pothole it and then move on. So
We go in and we drill from the main all the way into the basement, into the house, replace the whole thing. So what they're doing right now is just inspections.
Right.
The next phase will be where we start replacing everything. And pretty much any house before 1972, most of it's gonna be lead, some all the way up into the 80s. Some of these cities are old cities, so just a heads up, it is coming. We have Pittsburgh, Detroit, Denver, Chicago, Milwaukee, we're doing right now, and then probably 2 dozen other smaller cities. So
yeah, we did it in Wilmington year and a half with them. Project. Anybody else, anything large projects? This one I don't know about. It's not. The pilot program for improving gas GIS information with GNSS and RTK locating.
Green Utilities, kind of, piggybacking off, the Common Ground Alliance, 50 and 5, reducing damages nationwide, by 50% in over 5 years. Part of that initiative is, improving maps and, GIS information. And Green Utilities, we're in, the infant stages of, introducing RTK, locating, gathering that information, survey grade accurate, locating, to implement into our GIS, which is the future of locating, guys. So all the problems that you have about the manpower, how long it takes to do a locate, the future is going to reduce that. I mean, it's going to take time, obviously, but moving forward in the future, that's what you're going to be looking at. So Green Utilities taking the initiative, being a municipality where we own our own water system, sewer system, gas, electric system, fiber system. We're implementing this in the gas department at the moment. And we're trying to figure out the logistics of how we can implement it through the other departments as well. So again, it's in the infant stages, but it is something we're looking at to invest into improving our GIS information. And I think you'll see this across everywhere soon. I mean, this technology has been out for 5-6 years now. So it's, I think you'll see it across the board. Eventually, people are going to start investing in in doing this.
Are you guys doing that yourselves?
Yes.
And the reason I asked, we opened a division about a year ago.
Right.
And when we bid large projects, we put that in there because the number of times a Facebook, Apple, Google, whatever data center project will uncover the same duck bank 30 times. So
He must have been doing it for 4 or 5 years, all of our stuff's been put in cheap on GPS.
it's the way of the future, because I mean, nobody knows where everything is underground, so. Anybody else, any other new business? All right, moving on, North Carolina DOT. Anywhere from the DOT? North Carolina 811.
Sure. Okay, so once again, welcome everyone. I know 2025 has started out with a bang, and it sounds like it's only going to get busier. I know that we just went through some ugly weather, so just want to, keep that on the forefront. Because of the weather, that tends to slow down projects and, certainly issues with locates. So yes, let's definitely work together. Do want to remind everyone, it is that time of the year. So if you're a member, you're going to be receiving information from our member services team. And what they're asking is to update your information. So typically that email is going to go out to the database contact. So those are the only ones that can make changes to your member account. So if you're at a UCC meeting and you're like, oh, wait a minute, we need to make some changes, just make sure that your database contact is aware of it and to remind them, check your emails that it is coming. We want to know, have any of your contacts changed? Have you updated your maps with us? That can be done daily, weekly, quarterly, annually. At the very least annually. So keep a lookout for that, and she'll send a couple other announcements if you're not responding to the first one. But I would encourage you, go back to your folks, tell them please update that with us so that we can quickly move through that process. Any questions on that? Well, with the meetings coming up, this week is a very busy week for us here at NC 811. Of course, we're here today and we appreciate you guys taking the time, starting your year off right. Before you guys leave, please communicate with one another. Tomorrow, we will be back here with the North Carolina Locate Partnership Committee. Back in 2018, we started that committee, and then we were focusing just on those updates. Or actually locates at that point, problems getting locates responded to. And we realized we needed to move it out of those local UCCs because it was kind of getting a little heated. And so now we've, we actually had a Wake UC or LRPC and a Mecklenburg, and then we ended up merging them together so that we could communicate. Because what we have found is typically those top 5 members, it's a lot of those contractors working for them that are placing all those tickets. So tomorrow we'll focus on that, looking at the numbers. We now are digging into the 3-hour tickets, trying to look at a vendor list that those members provide to us. So we've got a bunch of different moving parts to that committee, but we would encourage you, if you want to come to the meeting, come tomorrow. If not, we do have a link. You can hop online. So we'd love to have you. Friday, we will have our annual NC 811 board meeting. Typically in January, as I said, that's our annual. So we're going to look at everything from our last quarter of last year and then look at some of our goals, moving forward. So we'd encourage you. It is here in Greensboro over at the Embassy Suite. So feel free to drop into that board meeting if you like. All right, so just a reminder, we do have a multitude of places. As we talked about our UCC meetings, you can look at your app. You can find the calendars. It's on NC 811. And also, as a reminder, we do have that dedicated UCC website. Speaking of that, that's where all of the conference information will be posted. And you'll see on the top, the conference, joint conference. So that's where all of that will be. So I'd encourage you, keep up with your meetings, put them on your calendar. Well, let's hop into some of the data so you can kind of see where we landed. In December, we actually had a 10% increase in locate tickets compared to 2023. As you see on our screens on either end, we had 202,513 tickets compared to 184,000 the same time last year. So, typically we begin to see, companies kind of slow down, take some time off. But as you see, the momentum was pretty strong, for the month of December. Also, as we are working on our update issue with the LRPC, for December, over 68,000 of those tickets were updates. So that means the work's continuing on. So 33.8% of the volume was due to updates. And that was a 3.5% increase compared to the month before. Overall, and I pulled those numbers, if you look at the bottom number there, 885,000 tickets for the month or for the year of 2024 were due to updates. So that was 31.6% of the volume. I remember back in 2018 when we started, we were approaching 27, 28%, and we thought, wow, this is out of control. Now it's even higher. But of course, things have changed since then with a lot of these projects. When we look at our year-to-date volume, we did land at 4.7% increase compared to 2023. So the volume, certainly is high. Year-to-date, we landed at 2.8 million tickets. So just to kind of give you some perspective, back in 2018, we hit the 2 million mark, okay? So then in 2019, we were 2.2 million. And then we slightly came down in 2020 to 2.1. And then, in 2020 was when COVID hit. 21, we ended 2.3. 22, almost 2.5. 23, 2.6 million. And now 2024, 2.8 million tickets. So listen, the volume's not going down. We've got to figure out ways to communicate with each other and to really plan these projects. And as Zach said, unfortunately, what's not in that budget is locators, the money to educate for that. I would like to mention to you one of the cool things that I just heard recently that's going to be unveiled at the CGA meeting is that NOLCA, which is National Utility Locating Association, they are looking to unveil a certification for locators. So this would be a national certification program. That's a good thing. So we're excited that there's going to be some great credibility that'll come along with that, and that will be unveiled at the CGA. Moving along to our transmissions. So for the month of December, we were 9.5% up compared to the same time last year, almost 1.1 million transmissions. And when we go to year to date, transmissions were up 6.2%. So we landed at 15,163,000 transmissions. So once again, wrap your mind around it. Every transmission that member's paying for. So for you, contractors, excavators, just a reminder, every transmission that goes to those members, they're paying for it. So the more we communicate, the more we cannot dump in, knowing that we cannot get the work done. That will just relieve, some of the stress on the system. So can't encourage you enough to communicate. All right, so what I pulled was, if you're going to any of your local UCCs, The liaisons are providing you top 10 callers for that county. I pulled the numbers for top 10 callers around the state since we're here at the state UCC. AT&T utility operations, as you see here, they were the top callers for 2024 at 20,262. Prince Telecom, obviously they're doing work for Google, 16,000. RH Underground. A lot of these, I'm sure you'll recognize whom they're working for. RH Underground, Piedmont Utility Lines, obviously, working for Duke, Lambert's. I know they're one of the contractors for Brightspeed. ITS Court, hey, you guys ranked out at number 7. ITG, RG Communications, J&J Underground, and Knight Broadband. So those were just the top. Well, actually, I gave you 11, and then if I recall, ANSCO, you guys were the next 2 in line. So just gives you an idea of those main excavators, contractors out there that are placing those tickets. So any questions on that? Any comments? Okay, so let's look at the damages. So we rounded out the month of December with 843. We're actually down just a few compared to December of 2023. Mecklenburg at 121, Wake at 120. Once again, just a reminder, you are required to report damages first to the member and then back to us. And then certainly once we take that information, it goes up to CGA so that we can, document all those damages. We know that certainly there's a lot missing. So we'd encourage you to stay the course. We also focus on damages per 1,000 transmissions. As you kind of see, this is color coded. So kind of gives you an idea of when we look at the damages based per 1,000 transmissions within your county, where do you land in that quantile? And so green, yellow, red, that, red, we take a look at.
That's good. What do you?
There's someone online that's not.
A bunch of things, little things a little bit here, our new ticket management system, I think.
Hey, guys, if you're online, will you please mute yourselves? We're hearing you all talk.
I got it.
Okay, thank you, Howard. So once again, this is for you guys to take a look at. If this is within your county, just note that sometimes just because it's red doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It could be in these little smaller counties where they really don't have a huge amount of volume. So once they have a few damages, then it really makes them their damages are really bad. But at the end of the day, any damage that we can, alleviate, the better. So once again, there's that map for you. When we break it down, and I've kind of added, to give you an idea of the ups and downs with that bar graph and line. As you see, it still has seemed to trend somewhat the same way. Except in 24, we began to already ramp up in April and continue that same path. The good thing is we kind of came down in September, and then we kind of ramped back up and then came back down. So that kind of gives you a visual of where we're at. Some of it obviously follows with the dig months. We start ramping up in March, April. But the beauty of it is North Carolina, we can dig 12 months out of the year. So that's a good sign. So with that, I did want to provide you an update from the Underground Review Board. So yes, we are getting cases coming. As you see here, 157 cases was on our agenda this past year. 60 of those received Pipes Plus training, and we issued $192,500 in fines. And so that was 4 meetings that we had throughout the year. As we get into 2025, we're meeting actually next week. And right now, I think we have about 39 cases on the agenda. You are welcome to dial in through the phone, or you can come here and sit through one of our meetings as well. And then over here to the left, you'll see just a little bit about the penalty structure. we're very consistent, in how we, provide those penalties and, encourage you to come attend. And if you are thinking about, placing a complaint, I would encourage you, I'm putting my hat on as NC 811, come and talk to us and see if we can help you before you go this route. Because we want you guys obviously to communicate instead of these, fines being issued. But certainly it's complaint based.
Court's got his hand up.
I'm sorry?
Court has his hand up.
I think that was from earlier.
Okay.
All right, with that being said, this is our team. We do have our new liaison that started back in August over in the western part of the state. So you will be dealing with Rory. Tammy is on some FMLA right now. She's over in the Charlotte area all the way out to Blue Ridge. So if you need anything, myself and Paris are kind of filling in on her area, but hopefully she'll be back by the end of the month. All right, with that, unless there's any questions, I will turn it back over to you.
Thanks, man. Oh, it's you next again.
Oh, well, okay. So once again, on that North Carolina Locate Resolution Partnership Committee, we will be meeting here tomorrow. There will be basically some of the information that we provide is we look at, who are the top contractors that are placing updates. And then we look at if you're updating one or more times with a work date of 1 day. We're focusing on those two. Tim is one of my regulars each month when the reports come in for updates. We've kind of specialized that report for Tim because you've got a job order, or is it a
job number?
Job number. So we're pulling that data for him. He's got that job number and he can quickly go back and kind of follow down through his list and say, okay, well, that work's done. Let's take this out of the system completely. If you guys have, reports like that you think would be beneficial, let us know. But we do have, we do supply that data, but the more granular data that can only be given to that particular contractor. So we would encourage you to attend that meeting tomorrow if you can.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
State regulators, North Carolina Utilities, OSHA, Department of Labor, electric and power companies. And St. Louis on North Carolina Ground Alliance.
Okay. Common Ground Alliance, just as if you guys, has everybody attended the Common Ground Alliance conference? I know that'll be coming up in April. Would encourage you, if you've not attended that conference before, it's a great conference. It is a little more higher this year. It's about a $1,400 investment, but as Will alluded to, the whole focus is to try to reduce damages 50 and 5. So reduce damages by 50% within 5 years. So we're 2 years into this, 2 maybe. So basically that's kind of where we're at on that. Would encourage you. There's a lot of, Lewis is on the data committee, bringing back a lot of data, and we'll actually be bringing some of that in the next couple months. As you guys are providing damages, we've got a flow chart that we're working on to try to figure out what would be the best way to provide you that data to understand it, because it looks very busy, but we want you to provide good data when you provide those damages to us so that we can determine that root cause. We need to know, down to as granular as possible so we know how to educate. Is it a contractor problem? Is it a locator problem? Is it a no one call problem? So that's the type of stuff that you're going to see coming up in the next couple months from NC 811.
Hey, Ann,
Yes.
going back a little bit on the regulator. I was just curious if the North Carolina Labor Commissioner had ever been formally invited to come to a state NCUCC meeting?
So obviously he's brand new.
Yeah.
Roger, so I've got Roger online. I know, Roger, you guys are working, with them through NUCA, correct? With our new.
Yeah,
new
yes,
commissioner?
that's correct, Ann. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he's gonna be at our meeting next month in Durham,
Okay,
which what I can do is get with him and see if we can get on his schedule to attend some of these state meetings. Now, he may only be able to jump on them virtually, not be able to make them in
sure.
person, but I'll work on that and see what I can do.
Thank you, Roger. And I too will be there at that safety meeting, and hopefully we can kind of tag team him and get him on board with attending.
And so the reason I bring that up is knowing, I'm sure that he has a very busy schedule, but with a couple of months' notice, he's ever able to make a meeting in person, it could most likely be the meeting in Raleigh in March.
Absolutely.
So that's why I say that.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we can work on that. And like you was just saying, yeah, the meeting in Raleigh, again, I'm not speaking for him, because I'm not sure what his schedule is right now, but we can do everything that we can to get him there for the Raleigh meeting.
So Roger, if you don't mind, just for those that are maybe not familiar with who he is, if you want to share a little bit of information about him.
Oh my
Hopefully you
goodness.
voted.
Yeah. Well, Commissioner Farley that was elected, and Lord, I'm gonna sound like his manager on this, but I'm not. But everyone appreciates the vote that he got to get him in the position that he's in. But Luke's background is he is a construction attorney. They're out of Raleigh, so he is on the contractor side. He understands the heartaches and headaches that we all go through from a day-to-day basis. He represented a lot of companies when it came to OSHA citations and the things like that. So to get him involved on this, I think will be a great idea. So he'll see the other side of the heartache that the contractors are going through. And when these damages do come across and these fines, he'll understand that a little bit more in depth also. But to meet him, he is a very likable person. He is sort of outspoken a little bit, you could say, but I do believe in the position that he's in that he is going to be a contractor-friendly commissioner of labor.
Nice. Can I ask one favor, Will? I know obviously we don't have anyone here with the Utilities Commission, but would you like to share anything from any of your, were you involved in any of those meetings with the Utilities Commission?
Well,
Or any of the
we were
pipeline?
inspected last year on our damage prevention program, which we were not in violation of anything according to the state commission. But basically, I shared some information about, the positive response of not complete is not in compliance with the state utility commission as a gas operator. So that's not speaking for telecommunications or electric facilities or anything like that. But as a gas operator, that is not a compliant response.
And my understanding is Steve Wood is retiring.
Yeah.
And Hillary is stepping up into that position. So there may be some, new stuff coming down, but hopefully we can try to get some of them to our meeting as well.
Engineering and design. Equipment manufacturers. Excavators and contractors. I'll go as far as an excavator. When I saw your numbers at 10%, the way the holidays fell, those last 2 weeks for us, holy shit, we did no work. I mean, it died. You know, so, and then when I saw that number, then about 40% of those were just updates. Have we ever looked or thought about extending the life of a ticket? And the reason I ask that is all, you know, if it's the 11 days and all of a sudden everybody's shut down for about 2 weeks, we're extending this, everybody's already behind. If we could extend that, if it was even 3-4 days, could that or would that help? And I putting a Band-Aid on a hole in a dam, I get it.
So actually, I'll go ahead and chat a little bit about the legislation. I was hoping that Lewis was going to try to get on today. After we meet tomorrow, that legislative team that's been working on the law changes, they are meeting at 1 o'clock tomorrow. One of the items that they're looking at currently, you know, our life of the ticket is 15 working days. So what does that equate to? About 3 weeks, right? The proposal is to extend it to 28 calendar days. And currently, right now, that is a consensus from that working group. So I think that's yours. That's yours,
Turn
Sean.
that one off.
Sorry. I mean, we need to get up and move, Sam.
Yeah, it's a 15-minute rule.
Yeah. So far, as I said, that is a consensus on that one item. It looks like that the life of the ticket will be extended to 28 calendar days. So therefore, that will give you that additional week. Now, on the locator side, I'm sure you guys have a whole different perspective. Will the paint stay down? Who knows? But with that, you know, certainly that will help with that one issue there. One of the other items that I think is of great interest, currently right now, when tickets come into the system, you know, they're transmitted out immediately upon, you know, when the ticket starts. And so the law is clear that you have to respond within 3 working days. Doesn't matter if that work date is 10 days out, the member is still required to respond. So with what is being proposed is it will ping off of the work date. So the 3-day clock will not start till 3 days prior to that work date. So if that law gets, you know, passed, then certainly I know NC 811 will really be ramping up education to the excavators, contractors about how important that work date is, because that will be when that locator will go out and start, you know, working on that ticket. So I would encourage you, go ahead and get that in your head to, as you're planning your work, try to make sure those work dates are as accurate as possible, because that will be when those tickets. So certainly we'd encourage you, put the tickets in, but make sure the work date is, you know, staggered and out, and hopefully that will help alleviate some of that planning.
Oh, I'll call in a ticket and it's almost due for updates by the time it gets located. I broke my record. USIC, I threw out on 13,000 in 1 week. The response, 2.5 weeks delay on the project. And like I said, by the time I get to start, I have like 2 days and then the ticket expires and it starts all over again.
So I would encourage you, and that makes my heart hurt. Number one, because cha-ching, 13 times, that means that's being transmitted. And if you're transmitting that to say they're locating for 3 members, every member's getting hit with a transmission. So at that point, I would encourage you, pick up the phone and call me. Pick up the phone and call the liaison in your ear. Let me see how we can help you navigate that, because that's huge. We want to get out of that of just constantly, you know, but yeah. So you can only do 1 3-hour, just so you know, 1 3-hour ticket. And then every time you call back in, it is considered a retransmit. So, but even that, you know, every time a transmission goes out, you know, so please, I'm gonna give you my card. Make sure you got me on speed dial.
We're having a meeting every Monday, USIC and another utility owner. Pay for them to get extra locators from us. Kind of done everything we can to be cooperative.
And I think that at the end of the day, that's all you can do, but just keep in mind too, they are contract locators, so the responsibility is truly on the member. Maybe we need to connect you, like you said, with that member to make sure there's just great communication, so.
And I got a question.
Yes.
You said something about the ticket going to 28 calendar days.
Mhm.
When will that be okay, if that does happen?
So at this point, I'm not sure. Hopefully after tomorrow, the items will be, set, and it will then go to the bill writer. They'll, create the bill, and then we'll just follow through the long session and see, where it lands. So at this point, I don't have an answer for you.
It's not guaranteed approved, is it? Or is it?
Okay. I mean, everything is, so the good thing is Senator Lazara is the sponsor of that bill. And, he's encouraged this committee to, to get your wants together so that we can get it to the bill writer, get it ready, so it doesn't slip through the cracks or any of that. So we'll just kind of see where that process lands. But Lewis is working on that matrix and a lot of different things, in the background on that legislative stuff.
So even if it goes to front legislation in 2025, you won't be able to see this until 2026 sometimes.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if if it could go into effect, say October 1. I know from our other changes, sometimes they are automatic. It just depends. I don't know that answer at this moment. But we will provide you an update.
And Mark
Yes.
Worth,
Hey, Mark.
what is the best way for me to give feedback to that group?
Okay, so there, if you're going to provide feedback, you need to do it today, hopefully. So we do have a list of those members that are representing each stakeholder group. So if you're not familiar with who is representing your particular stakeholder group, let me know, and we can certainly put you in contact with them. But Jim Collins is actually one of them. So Jim, go ahead.
Yeah, hey, Mark, Jim Collins.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah, if you want to shoot me an email with what your things are, I can bring it up at the meeting tomorrow. So I'll be attending that.
Sorry, I forgot, Jim.
No worries.
So Jim, is there anything else that you want to speak on that you think is of great interest to this group?
I think you kind of mentioned it, the life of the ticket, changing that. There also been some talk on, I think, length of the ticket. One thing I'm going to kind of try to introduce to help our unlocatable crews. Right now, when there's a ticket out there and it comes back as unlocatable, right now Sam has to put in another ticket. They can't dig until their 72-hour ticket clears. Some of the other states that we work in, Kentucky in particular, they have an exemption in there for that. So if there's a ticket already out there and an operator or their subcontractor can go out and do hand digging, it has to be, you can't go out the back or anything like that. You can do hand digging to find the unlocatable service to make that repair. And that should definitely help out on the contractor side, because we always hear, it takes, our locators 3 days to get out there, and they say, hey, this is unlocatable. Then they get it to Sam, and Sam has to put in their ticket away another 3 days and just keeps delaying them. So hopefully this will reduce some of that delay time if they can get out there right away. So that's another one that I'm trying to push through as well.
There was one that does come to mention, I think is probably good for this group, is emergency tickets. Certainly if you're placing an emergency ticket and it meets the definition of an emergency, currently right now, there is no mandated response time. You may have a policy that your company says, hey, we're going to respond within 2 hours. That is one of the items that they're proposing, is that you make, and Jim, help me, I can't remember how it's worded, but an initial response. So that could be verbally, it could be through, another form of communication, but we're looking at, I think it's 3 hours, is that correct?
I think that's right, yep.
Yeah, 3 hours. So that means if, say I'm in Bridge and I get a ticket, then doesn't mean you have to roll, but it means you have to have some sort of communication to that contractor within a 3 hour period. To discuss when you need to be on site, or can it wait till 8 a.m. the next morning because you're waiting on equipment to get to the site, that sort of thing. So that will be added into the law if that goes through.
And Jim, my concern is along the lines of an emergency ticket, and that's a report of damage ticket. The report of damage ticket was just to send data to NC 811 when we designed the law last time. I could send in all my reported damage tickets for the week on Friday if I felt like it. The problem is that those report of damage tickets are now being entered as if they were emergency tickets, basically tickets that needed to be responded to, and there is no emergency ticket that follows up. So there's confusion there, and that confusion needs to be taken care of.
So
if we have received a report of damage tickets when we should have received an emergency ticket.
Well, but just because there's a report of damage doesn't mean that they're digging immediately.
That's correct, but the excavator is using a report of damage ticket as an emergency ticket. And the report of damage ticket was never expected to be even communicated back out to the members. That was just data flowing into NC 811. But they're on my ticket list, and they are being treated as emergency tickets. And they're being sent to us as emergency tickets, like an emergency ticket.
We'll look at some education on that to make sure to those contractors, if they've hit something and they need to dig, that there has to be, a ticket to follow, that's not what the reported damage is.
And I should not be paying for reported damage tickets in my ticket count. Those should not be being sent back out to the members that were in that area.
I'm not sure that you're getting charged for that transmission, but I'll follow up.
Okay. My big concern is there's a possibility in Durham. We received a report of damage ticket. We did not receive an emergency ticket.
Okay. Mark, I will definitely have some conversation on that one.
Okay. That's my concern, Jim.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's good. Mark brought up a good point. I've run across it before, not necessarily that I review how many tickets to pay for, but I can see what he's talking about. But I want to use that as a segue. You bringing up the emergency tickets, a couple of items. Just for, I've been doing locate tickets for many, many years, but just to clarify in my mind the different types of locate tickets. From a routine ticket now is 72 hours, 3 business days. Am I correct in saying that anything less than 72 hours is a short notice ticket? And then do you have, between the short notice and emergency, do you have like a rush ticket? And then an emergency is really supposed to be a true emergency. So can you separate those for me so that I have a clear understanding?
So what you're referring to is when those tickets come into your system and you're looking at them, and I know you mentioned the rush, those are considered the priority. Okay, so this is like policy. That's not law. Some of it's pinged off the work date. If I say I'm going to dig on day 2 instead of, after my 3 working days, it would show a rush. So it's all, some of it's pinging off of the work date if it's less than 3 working days. But just at the end of the day, if it's a normal ticket, 3 working days. Even an emergency ticket, technically by the law, 3 working days.
Yeah.
But the response does say, you know, on an emergency ticket, you can dig without an emergency ticket, but when practical, place that emergency ticket. So the law does give you the leeway for that. But just as a reminder, when you see a short notice, rush, all of those are policy, not law. Okay, so that was created by policy, and to give you guys just a heads up that they're asking for it to be located quicker. But at the end of the day, the law allows you 3 full working days on a normal ticket.
If I have say 100 tickets on my board and I get a rush ticket, I'm not gonna go do that rush ticket. You got to get the other tickets done.
Correct. Look at,
Virtue's a little different.
yeah, right. But look at, and you'll notice is that work day is less than 3 days, and it's the way we have our system set up to just code it as the priority considered rush. But
Okay, now I have a clear understanding of that. The last thing is, and I know that I brought this up before at a state UCC meeting in the past, I don't know how long it's been. But a pet peeve of mine is to receive an emergency locate ticket from somebody, no matter who it is. I hate to throw anybody under the bus, but I've had more problems with Forsyth County than any other person that calls in emergency tickets, whether it be for a sewer repair, water main repair, or whatever. When they're notorious for calling in an emergency ticket, and the contact number they put on an emergency ticket is the main switchboard in Forsyth County. If you call in an emergency ticket, you need to put a name of a person and a phone number of someone who can be reached and will answer the phone when you call about that emergency ticket. I've been on hold for 30 minutes with the switchboard at Forsyth County trying to find out who's actually on site to talk with that person. And I've told them time and time again, it's ridiculous, but they need to put an actual person and number on there that's on site you can speak. For an emergency, something like that.
if you'll provide me a ticket of some sort, we'll do a little bit of research. So just as a reminder, you've got the caller and then you got the field contact. The caller is going to be that person putting it in. Doesn't mean that it couldn't be the same, but just as a reminder, that person that's going to be on site, make sure that their information's in there, or put it in the remarks field of some sort. So we'll certainly address that for you. Absolutely.
Any other excavators or contractors? All righty, moving on then to insurance. Locate companies.
Talking about updated tickets, S&M saw the increased updated tickets for the months of November and December. So I know a lot of work's going on out there. A lot of things will end up putting you back. Weather, manpower, everything else, but we did see a big uptick in that. There's a couple of tickets out there that I've looked at that called in for 14 times last year. That's a lot. After reaching out, making communication with them, or communicating with them, found out that they're waiting on permitting, and they keep calling that in. And there's nothing we can do about that, but go out there and keep locating. So,
and Brian, you do bring up a good point there. If you're not, if you're not ready to go, and that means all your permitting, all your, all your agreements, anything that is not giving you full steam ahead, please do not put that ticket in the system. And that does show up on our update report for the LRPC. So we can go out, search, and we can look at those individual tickets. And if we see, it's been updated 80 times, that's a red flag to us. And so our team will, hopefully address some of those. So if you have, those, please let us know. And you know, we'll certainly take a look at them. But good point. Good point.
I also want to bring up, we've got a lot of locating. We're on the Brightspeed contract. And if there's anything that y'all come across, please feel free to reach out to me. Over the Christmas holidays, Howard, okay, he's left. He reached out to me. There were some problems over on the eastern part of the state. They were able to bring me into a meeting by Teams. Was able to talk to people. Actually heard from some of those people during the holidays, and they were trying to get in touch with a certain locator that was on vacation, and I ended up getting them in touch with that manager. So feel free to reach out. Whether it's by email, just know that, I mean, I try to keep up with these things as much as we possibly can. So reach out to me. I'll try to help you in any way I possibly am able to do. So we try to attend all UCC meetings, try to hear. I mean, we know we're not perfect. I mean, doing everything we can. Manpower's got it. Just, you know, let us know if you're coming across some issues. We don't know it until we get to the UCC meetings and people address it. And then, you know, that job's already been completed, but we want to make sure that we're putting the left foot in front of the right and doing the right thing.
Any other locators?
Saying hello to everybody. First and foremost, my name is Alan Webb. I'm brand new with State Center. I've been with them for about 3 months now. I'm actually the regional manager for the Northeast region, going from Maine to South Carolina. So we will be having presence at every one of the UCC meetings. And just to piggyback and say the same thing you just said, if you do have issues with anything as far as our locators, please reach out to me. My contact information has already been listed on the attendance form. We do locates for Sabre, Verizon, Crown Castle, Lumen, Zayo, and Firelight.
Thank you. Thanks for attending. Gas company's gas pipeline.
Hey, Sean, I'll just take a moment to introduce myself. I don't get to a lot of these meetings, but I'm Joseph Page. I go by Joey, but I'm a local operations manager for Williams Gas Pipeline and also Cardinal Pipeline, which goes across the state to Raleigh from Rockingham County all the way to Wake County. So I don't have any cards, but if you want to take a picture of the roster there, it's got my email and my phone number on it. If you ever have any problems with us, with Williams or Cardinal, reach out to me and we'll get it taken care of. But, you know, so like Chuck said, just get us the excavators, get us that name and contact, and we're going to work with you because we operate a very large, high pressure pipeline, and we do not want you hitting it. And you don't want to hit it. And so we're gonna work with you as quickly as possible to make sure that it stays safe, and we're gonna be out there with you as well.
Anyone else?
You know, I'll kind of ditto that with, I mean, we like to remind everyone, Dixie Pipeline is a high pressure, liquid propane transportation pipeline. Sometimes we get confused with natural gas. We're strictly liquid propane. And we pass through about 5 counties here in North Carolina: Richmond, Moore, Lee, Chatham, and Wake County. And it's our largest terminal and storage facilities in Apex. And we just like to remind contractors and excavators that we do have to have company personnel on site and any type of work done on our right of way along our pipe.
And our Colonial's the same way. You know, guys are that. And believe me, I want you there too. Anybody else?
This is Mark. Jim, did you want to go first?
No, go ahead,
Anyway,
Mark.
this is Mark with Enbridge. We had just about our best year as far as ticket damage count, and also definitely by our damage ratio, but the damage ratio was kind of helped by 35% update tickets. We had a damage ratio of 1.33 and only 973 damages. We had pretty good action up in the west when we had the storm come through. We did, though, have more damages from no call in October and November than we did the total the rest of the year. So I know people are just trying to get work done and understand the situation, but that was our biggest problem. Our system did quite well. We did have gas blowing a few days, And that was basically because the facility that had that gas service was no longer on the foundation that it used to be on. So, and it was tough to get into some places. So, but we had overall had a good year.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah.
Who's on?
Yeah, this is Joel Calabrese from P&G. I'd like to give our December report regarding damages and damages per thousand. It's a good news, bad news. Okay, I'll start with the bad news. In December, we had 94 damages to our facilities. 72% of that number were excavator damages. The two that stand out above all the rest are no notification was made to the one call center 19 times. There was 19 damages associated with that. And another in that top three is excavator dug prior to verifying marks with a pothole. And one of the top three is also improper excavation practice, not listed. And what that means is mostly hit with a shovel. So it sounds like in that circumstance, it was somebody trying to do the right thing using a shovel and they hit the line. But those were the top three categories of damages. Unfortunately, the total list of the excavator damages was almost 3/4 of the total of 94 damages for the month of December. The locators had associated with their damages 17, and that's about 18% of the damages we had. And now for the good news, and really good news, we had our DPT for the year. If you want to go back to 21, where they started registering this for me, in 2021 we had a 2.30 DPT. In 22 it was 2.17, and then it went down to 2.15, and this year a very dramatic drop down to 1.84. In these years that I just listed, we've initiated the Watch and Protect program and the SAM program, where they do the repair to unlocatable system. And between those two programs, working with the contractors, working with the locators, it's been an amazing, run where each year the DPT has gone down, and the communication between the parties is really been good. Not that everything's perfect in communications, but it's really been a dramatic improvement since, when I started almost 6 years ago now. And I can't thank you all enough for working with the locators, the Watch and Protect programs, and helping prevent the damage, because those efforts are, the numbers prove it. So keep up that good work. Unfortunately, December you had kind of a bad month, but it did not deter the best year of DPT that we've ever had in North Carolina. So thank you for all your efforts. I don't know, Jim, if you want to add anything.
No, I'm good, Joe. You covered it.
Okay, back to you guys.
Anybody else from gas? Moving on to oil and oil pipeline. Private water. Public works. Looking at this.
I was trying to pull up our information for the year. For some reason, I'm not able to open the file to look at our report for our damages. I do know our damages per thousand is less than 1 per thousand for the year. That's pretty steady across the board for us. But I can't pull the file up for some reason, so I apologize for that. But So,
Railroads. Cable TV telecom. You don't have nothing to say, usually have something to say.
Well, I mean, I guess I missed my contractor spot or whatever, but as far as, ANSCO goes, we're busy across, both states and, actually several states or whatever, but, really, no concerns to mention in this meeting. I can tell you that, it is a daily, constant, contact for me to deal with the facility owners and locate contractors to get locates on the ground. So, it's something that, if you're dealing with it, it's probably not gonna go away anytime soon, but, my advice is, to get you a good contact and, reach out to them and, build that relationship with them. And, it seems to get things done a little bit faster.
Thanks, Jim.
Tim, I got a question for you. It's something I heard recently I was unaware of. But I heard that, ANSCO had begun doing some pole replacement work for Duke Energy, is that right?
No, that's not right now.
Okay.
What it is, sometimes AT&T will own that pole and we'll replace that pole for AT&T. And, it'll have power and all that on it as well.
Okay.
But, yeah, that's probably what you're seeing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was surprised when I heard it, so that's why I went straight to the horse's mouth.
Yep, that's what it is.
All right, thank you.
Local UCCs.
Wake County's gonna have the first meeting January 28th at Raleigh, Global Street at our office. For his first one in the year at 11 o'clock.
Well, Parish had our Rockingham County meeting last week.
I want to let you know that the safety breakfast for the foothills, which will be, was that Cleveland, Rutherford?
Austin.
Yeah.
Man, the things that you lose out on when you leave that area. I just want to let y'all know that that will be at the Gastonia Baseball Park over there in Gastonia. And that will be, I think, April the 1st. They said April the 8th the other day, but after looking at the map, the 1st is the first Tuesday. So last year, I heard it was a big number, started that over 4 years ago, and really good turnout. So those that are in the area, I hope they'll be able to make it. Look forward to that.
I will be down in Rockingham on Thursday, so we do have that Richmond County UCC. I know if you're down in that area, please love to have you. We are struggling with some of the UCCs. There's 50 of them. And once again, they're there for you all. We need you to come. We need you to communicate with us. So yeah, Thursday at Piedmont Natural Gas for the Richmond County, down in Rockingham. Thursday.
Randolph County is today at 1:30 as well in Asheboro. Yeah.
That's another one that we really need to get ramped back up. A lot of people are not showing up to that one. And that one's over at Randolph EMC.
Rowan, Bears, they're having issues getting people to that one well.
Yeah, the Bears, Rowan, Stanley. That one rotates. This month it was in Concord at Ambridge, and then next month we'll go back to Salisbury. So I would encourage you to, please attend that one as well. Then Roger.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Roger.
The Mecklenburg UCC is the last Wednesday of every month. We rotate back and forth between Piedmont Natural Gas over off of,
Yancey.
Thank you.
Yeah,
My mind
yeah.
just went blank. Over off of Yancey and Charlotte Water, usually over at Zone 2. But that's always on the 811's website. You can go under your local UCCs and find out where those meetings are. And something that Ann was talking about earlier in this meeting that happened in Mecklenburg County is, yes, we did have some contractors that was having issues with unlocatable stuff. And those contractors, along with the facility owners, were able to get together. And as she was saying, they do, I think it's a bi-weekly meeting. And y'all correct me if I'm wrong on that, but that has made a big difference. So attending these UCC meetings is very important for contractors, locators, facility owners, and all of that to make those contacts, discuss the issues that's going on and work through them. And from a Mecklenburg County side, I can say that that has really helped out and worked out real good. So if you don't attend, you need to start attending your local UCCs. And I think that's all I got.
Thanks, Roger. I'll piggyback off what Roger said. Get involved in your local UCC. A lot of the issues that you guys brought up in here can get resolved through the local UCC meetings. That communication is vital between facility owner, contract locator, and excavator. So get involved in your local UCC. If you're coming to the eastern part of the state, Pitt County, Ring Utilities host Pitt County's UCC. My contact info is out there. If you're going to be in that part of the state, please, we welcome it. Appreciate it.
Sam, didn't you mention Wake County
Yeah.
UCC? I'm assuming Wake County has a meeting every month.
Yes, we do, through September.
Okay.
Well, actually October.
Okay.
Then we don't meet November, December because it's Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Okay, but it's towards the end of the month.
Yes, it's the last Tuesday in every month.
I was only asking because, like Rockingham County meets bi-monthly, but Guilford is every month, and Mecklenburg, and I assume Wake.
Yeah, we're there every month.
Okay. Thank you.
Lewis popped in. Do you want to?
Oh,
Louis, do you have anything you'd like to
Yeah,
add?
sorry about that. I've been working on this legislation in the nth hour here, trying to get everything together. I am here. If anybody has any questions or anything for me, real briefly, of course, we have our board meeting on Friday. I'm sure that's been explained. And we are going to be in our LRPC tomorrow, which can't see if Dan's smiling face is in there or not, but he might be. And of course, after that, we're following up with this legislative meeting, hopefully to get these drafted changes over to bill writing. But that's the hope. I've constructed a little matrix of the existing language and the proposed language and where that location is, and get ready to distribute that to all the people who have been working on this. We've had about 9 meetings so far since the beginning of last year. And we're starting to close down on this. Hopefully, we're about ready to get this into bill writing and get some of these changes put together. If anybody has any questions for me, and I see Court Bennett has his hand up as well, but I don't. He's been up for some time. I don't know if he left it up or if that's purposeful. But if anybody has any questions for me or anything burning in them that they want to know about, I'm happy to answer those questions.
Hey, Lewis, one of the questions that was asked, if everything passes, goes through this upcoming year, is there a date when this could go into effect, or would it be a year from now or automatically? That was a question.
Yeah, that's a great question. And it hasn't really been determined, but I was talking to Stephanie today. I'm thinking we're going to have to set a date like we did originally. I think the original thing was like in October 1st.
Right.
And so I think we'll be putting together some kind of a launch date for those changes to take place, giving us a chance to make any changes, like especially for the ticket length, in terms of time from how long a ticket is good for, and also hinging to the work start instead of the release of the ticket. Those kind of things are going to require a little system change on our part, but also just to give people a chance to prepare for those changes to happen. That's the game plan. And I'm sure we're going to talk about that tomorrow. I did hear from Senator Lazar's office just a hot second ago, and they're going to be joining us as well on the, via Teams tomorrow. So I have my fingers crossed that we're actually here getting close to getting something to happen with this. This is a pretty significant thing for us.
Thanks, Louis. Anybody else have any questions for Louis? All right, guys, I'd like to thank North Carolina One for hosting. Appreciate that, Ann.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Next meeting is March the 11th at Enbridge in Raleigh, North Carolina. Hope to see you guys there, as Ann said.
See if anybody else has anything to add online.
Anybody online have anything to add? All right, as Ann stated, lunch, please stay, enjoy it, and again, you'll have more conversation during that time. Thanks for showing up, guys.
Thanks, guys.